Let's talk Tanya for the 16th of Teves of a leap year. We're middle of chapter 10, and we're middle of talking about the Tzadik. As we explained in the previous chapter, there is a battle going on between the godly soul and the animal soul within every single one of us, or at least that's the way it begins. And there are three outcomes to the battle. The first one is a person who is a Tzadik, meaning that the godly soul is victorious. The animal soul is incapacitated. It's, for all practical purposes, it's not functioning. As we mentioned briefly yesterday, however, there are actually two different levels within Tzadik. So in this possible outcome in the battle, generally we talk about a Tzadik, but within Tzadik there are two different levels of Tzadik, and these are known as the Tzadik Gomer, which is the complete Tzadik, and the Tzadik She'eni Gomer, which is the incomplete Tzadik. The incomplete Tzadik, we'll start with that one. The incomplete Tzadik is someone who has incapacitated the animal soul, has delivered it a knockout blow to the point that it's not functioning, it's in hibernation, but ultimately it exists. The complete Tzadik, on the other hand, is someone who not only has given the animal soul a knockout blow, but actually succeeds in transforming the animal soul to holiness. Actually, the animal soul itself right now, all it desires is a connection with God through learning Torah and doing mitzvahs. Now, these two levels of Tzadik, we're talking about them as they are in relation to the animal soul. Did you just give it a knockout blow? Did you transform it? But where does it really begin? It begins with the level of love that the Tzadik experiences for God. And this is something that we spoke about in the Tanya of 2 days ago, that there are two different levels of love. The lower level of love is the fiery love, the love which is that characterized by yearning and thirsting for God. And that is the level of love of the lower Tzadik, the incomplete Tzadik, which results in the animal soul being incapacitated, but still in existence. The complete Tzadik is the one who has the Ava B'Tanugim, the love which is characterized by pleasure. That Tzadik is actually experiencing an intimate relationship with God and taking pleasure in it. That sort of love actually is able to transform the animal soul to holiness. Now, the lower level of Tzadik, the incomplete Tzadik, that is something which is not so rare. That is something which the Talmud tells us there are 18,000 of these Tzadikim throughout the generation. However, the higher level of Tzadik, the complete Tzadik, that is something which is very rare. That's literally someone who is a complete Tzadik is in rare company. And in the Talmud, we have Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, he says, Ra'isi b'nei aliyah v'hei mu'atim, which means that I have seen truly elevated people, and they're very few in number. He says, in our, he was talking about his generation, maybe there's two and maybe there's one, and that's something which is very rare, to be able to have this level of love for God, this pleasurable love, and that sort of experiencing godliness, which results in the complete Tzadik, is something which is very rare. And the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, the reason why these are called B'nei Aliyah, elevated people, is because the word Aliyah, elevated, can also, we can play with that word. It means the Tzadik who has elevated, the one who has elevated their animal soul, which again, the incomplete Tzadik has not elevated and transformed their animal soul, just is doing a great job suppressing it completely. But the one who is the B'nei Aliyah, the complete Tzadik, is the one who has elevated, transformed, and elevated their animal soul. There is another reason why the complete Tzadik is called a B'nei Aliyah, is considered an elevated person, and that we'll find out, God willing, in tomorrow's Tanya.